Today we're back in the Wiregrass, which is several cities and counties combined where peanuts are the hot commodity. And today is going to be a somber note. You see, in the past I have done stories about tornadoes. We went to Wetumpka and covered the devastating tornado that destroyed Wetumpka, Alabama. And we went to Opelika, where President Trump came to town, and tornadoes destroyed that entire area up there. Both of those videos were done right after the tornado hit, within days or the day of, after the tornado had completely devastated the town. This episode is going to be about another tornado that completely destroyed an area, but it happened several years ago. The thing about it is, the tornado that hit here in Enterprise, Alabama was one of the most dangerous tornadoes that ever touched ground in the state. It completely trashed Enterprise and killed several people. So today we're in Enterprise and we're going to talk about the deadly E4 tornado that tore the city up and killed some of its residents. We have been here to Enterprise before. Right in the center of the street over here is a monument to one of the most destructive insects in the entire world, the boll weevil. Well, they praise the boll weevil here, and it's a long story. I detailed it in a previous video that I will put right here if you want to go back and watch it. Basically, all this area produced all of the cotton, or the majority of it, that comes from the state, and but then the boll weevil ravaged it. Well, they had to look for another resource, and it turned into peanuts, and now it's millions and millions of dollar industry out of this area down here now. So they praised the boll weevil for basically destroying the cotton farming that was going on and creating the peanut industry that is a major industry here now. Again, you can check out the other video if you want to know more about the boll weevil and the history of it here in the Wiregrass area, Enterprise and Dothan. Today, I'm not going to be on that subject. Today, we're going to talk about the deadly tornado that hit. All right, so it was in the middle of the afternoon. Schools were in session, people were at work. It was just after lunch, 1:12 p.m. as a matter of fact, on March the 1st of 2007. An EF4 tornado slammed Enterprise, Alabama, where we are right here, destroying huge chunks in different areas of the city of Enterprise. The winds coming off of it were in excess of 170 miles an hour. Nothing was safe in its wake. Unfortunately, the day that tornado hit, as I said, school was in session. One of the areas that was destroyed was a school, Enterprise High School. Because it hit in the middle of the day, the school was completely filled with students. 8 students died, and 50 more were injured and taken to local hospitals. Another person died. The death toll was 9 total from this tornado. 8 of them were students in the high school, and 1 of them was just a resident, a woman who was at her home, and her home just happened to be in the path of the tornado. Today, I am going to go visit where the old high school was, see if there's anything left or any remnants of what happened that horrible day. And since it's been so many years now, there's no telling if there is anything left. Shortly after it hit, the governor, Bob Riley, mobilized the Alabama National Guard, and they enacted a from dusk till dawn curfew. There was no power, no utilities, nothing. The tornado destroyed all of it. The president at the time, President George W. Bush, declared Coffee County, here where we are in Enterprise, Alabama, a disaster area, much like Trump did over in Opelika.
Well, here at Enterprise High School, this is third hall behind us where most of the 8 students that died, this is where it happened. Crumbled walls all through this courtyard, massive destruction. The classrooms just a few feet from here, including third hall where we talked about a lot of the roof damage happened, collapsing on a lot of the children who have horror stories to tell. The students describing how they sat in the hallway for 2 hours, and at 1:13 the tornado hit, pulling classmates from the rubble. There's going to be a long road to recovery for these students. Not sure what's going to happen next. The seniors hoping they can graduate on time. In Enterprise, Jason Dennis, Fox 6 News.
12 years ago now, Enterprise High School looked a lot different than what it does today. The kids came to school that morning without knowing, before the day was out, several of their classmates would be killed and life as they knew it would change forever. As bad weather approached from the distance, the students were in class when suddenly everything went black. There was chaos and screaming, and when it was over and all the dust had settled, some of the boys and girls that they had grown up with were nowhere to be found, while all the rest of them who began getting their composure back in the hallways of what was then Enterprise High School picked themselves up off the floor. After the devastating tornado, officials were called into question whether they handled it properly or not. Knowing that this extremely bad weather was coming, should schools have been let out early? Did they do the right thing once they knew that there was no doubt the tornado was going to hit? But ultimately, a review of the situation determined that they did the right thing. Had students been let out of school early that day for the storm, there would likely be a lot more people who died from the surrounding areas because of the storm. And they also determined everything that they did inside of the school that day to get the kids into safe areas as quickly as possible. It was all done appropriately. Now, since they've had to rebuild the school, they now have concrete enforced safe areas inside. So if it were to ever come and happen again, there's safe areas that the kids can go to, so no one dies in the future because of Mother Nature. Comparing to how the school looks now versus what it looked like back then, you can tell it's completely different. There's really no resemblance except for a few minor features of the Enterprise High School from 2007. This area down here is very large into football, and there were scenes from the news back when it happened of cars flipped upside down laying on the football field there. It would be almost impossible to line up any shots now because of all the extensive remodeling that has taken place over the last several years. They've also, if you look up here now, in many spots around the campus, they have these weather stations so they can keep track of the weather. I can only imagine the nightmare that was going through their heads as it all unfolded. And it probably didn't last but just a few minutes, but it probably seemed like forever to them. Ultimately, after that tornado hit, 239 homes were completely destroyed. 374 homes in the area had major damage to them, and 529 homes had minor damage. The tornado followed a path that was 10 miles long and over 500 yards wide. That's 5 football lengths across. That's how wide the tornado was. It was an incredible tornado, one of the worst the state has ever seen. It was bad. It was really bad. All total, the Red Cross estimated that the one tornado racked up more than $300 million worth of damage to the city. And that's not counting the 9 lives that were lost. What happened here in Enterprise, Alabama should not happen anywhere else. It was devastating. That's going to do it for today and the story of the E4 tornado that touched down and destroyed the old Enterprise High School. I want to thank you all for watching. It means so much. And if you guys want to help support the channel and our future travels, check out the links down in the description box below. It's much appreciated and it keeps us going. It fuels our adventures, if you will. Thank you all. I will see you again tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day.